See, I think the biggest piece in data-driven decision making is to build a company culture, a leadership culture that believes in data. And this goes from founders and CEOs to the leadership, top management, so on and so forth. And you want to build a culture where people in the top seriously believe in data-driven decision making. And once you build that culture, everything else follows. See, I think particularly in the internet industry or in the industry where you're dealing with web scale data, it becomes almost necessary to sort of build things scalably. So I think one of the biggest pieces I would call out is invest in data engineering, build robust data structures early in the business, particularly if you are a startup, young startup starting out now. I think initially early in your life stage, start investing in data engineering and building scalable structures to in the get-go, so that as you grow up, you are not dealing with a lot of technology debt. See, first of all, there are two or three aspects, right? First of all, we understand the Data Protection Act and understand what sort of data should be stored and not, and so on. And then we educate the basic engineering teams on data protection, so that, see, it's not just about the data science, data engineering teams, but even the core engineering teams which are building products. We have to make them very aware of what the data protection requirements are. And even as you build the source data, capture source data, store source data in the data platform, you have to be very wary of what can be stored and what cannot. And I think it has to be more pervasive through the technology organization rather than focused with one sort of a data leader. See, I'll tell you, there are multiple components to this. First thing is, where does bias come in? It comes in from training models with bias data, right? So I think we have a very strong analytically focused teams which understand these sort of concepts really, really well. And we take a lot of care in what kind of data is being trained for these ML models, make sure that these fairly represent the world we want to project and predict. And so a lot of that removing bias and data poisoning thinking comes in while building the model itself rather than when you're using the model. See, there are two aspects of data protection. First thing is making sure that we are storing the right kind of information, not the wrong, and we are not using information that should not be used as per the Data Protection Act and so on. So those things, I think we have to build very robust governance frameworks in the CDO's world. As to sort of data protection from external hackers and so on and so forth, I think that's where the CISO's role comes in. And so I think those are the broad top-down responsibilities that can be shared between these two leaders on data protection. See, I think right now, I think there is a lot of focus on generative AI, and if you can see, a lot of the conversations are on ChatGPT, generative AI, and so on and so forth, and which is great. I think it is time to start these conversations. Having said that, there is something I have read in the past called Amara's Law, which says that you tend to overestimate what technology can do for you in the short run and underestimate what it can do for you in the long run. I think generative AI will go through that cycle as well. There will be a hype cycle, but at the same time, I do believe that if you take a 5-10 year horizon, it will completely transform the world.